All right. Those of you that are here because you are attending a session called Path to Competent Communicator, right? No? Path to DTM. Fortunately or unfortunately, we just ran out of coffee, so if you got some, you might be awake. If you didn't, good luck. My name is Peter Salazar, and I am the only DTM in the entire district. No? No? I didn't think so. I thought there were more of me. Okay. Peter Salazar, DTM. I do have a co-facilitator. How many DTMs do we have in the room? Keep your hands up higher, higher, higher. My co-facilitator are the DTMs in the room. So congratulations. We're going to do this session together because, as you can see, I'm pretty unqualified to be up here. Today's session is the Path of DTM. We are going to go over some of the basic requirements to achieve DTM in the current legacy system, and we're going to go over some of the basic requirements to achieve DTM in the new, what's it called? Pathway system. Exactly. They're basically the same, but there's a few changes in the pathway system. For those of you that want the cliff notes and want everything up front, this session is really about encouraging you to achieve a DTM right now. Because everything for the pathway system started earlier this year, everything for the old system is ending at the end of next year. So what I'm going to do today is really encourage you to achieve your DTM now if you can. And if you don't want to, we're going to go over some of the changes for Path to DTM and the not legacy system, excuse me, what's it called? Pathways. Clear as mud? Is the mic on? Rick Olson, can you tell a joke? I'm dying up here. I'm just kidding. Okay. Yes?
Can you tell us what DTM stands for? I heard that question.
Sure. Of course. DTM. Do not time me. Most of you know that when you first join Toastmasters, you have to give a 4 to 6 minute speech called your icebreaker. And most of us get through it in about 4 minutes and 1 second. And then as you progress, you start giving speeches that are 5 to 7 minutes. And then most of us give the speeches in like 5.5 minutes. But the second you become a DTM, your speeches are 9 to 10 minutes. And people are clapping you down. Just kidding. Distinguished Toastmaster. A distinguished Toastmaster is, DTMs, can you help me? Mike.
Someone who's given a lot of speeches, supported their club, and also worked to support the district.
The district.
And support the creation of new clubs or to strengthen existing clubs.
Exactly. There's a lot of work in becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. Rick Olson, what's the percentage of Toastmasters that achieve a DTM?
Less than 1%, sir.
Less than 1%. Did you hear that? Less than 1% of all Toastmasters that join Toastmasters achieve a DTM. So it is the highest education level you can achieve within Toastmasters. It is the hardest education level to achieve within Toastmasters. But once you achieve it, it is the most rewarding education level you can achieve in Toastmasters. And it's the easiest to remember. You don't have to be ACB, comma, ALS, etc. And now with the new pathways, it's what? AL1, you're going to have a lot of acronyms. DTM is just your name, comma, DTM. Very easy. So by the end of this session, we are going to hopefully learn 5 things. Legacy requirements to achieve DTM, pathways requirements to achieve DTM, the deadline for achieving DTM in the current legacy system or the manual system, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to hopefully make you aware of the increased competition to achieve a DTM in the current legacy system. Mike said, serve the district. Part of becoming a DTM is 1 full year of district service. And for those of you who are not a DTM yet, there's only 1 year left after this year to complete that, to get your district service. Has anybody ever heard of a HPL? What's an HPL? High performance leadership. What does it entail? Is it a speech? Is it a 5 to 7 minute speech?
It's a project that you come up with that shows your high performances.
Yeah. It's a project where you're supposed to, it's a real hard project. You're supposed to manage teams that manage teams. So it's almost like being a director at a company or a project director where you're not only managing this person right here and this person right here, but you're ensuring that they're managing their teams. Very cool. It's very hard to do. We do have a session coming up here on September 15th, I believe, at this very spot on how to accomplish an HPL the next year. Club coach, club mentor, we'll go over all that. This one? Right. Okay, so under the legacy manual system, are we familiar with it? First, you get your CC award. That is probably one of the first moments you have in Toastmasters, right? You've given 10 speeches. You're feeling good about yourself. You're like, I could do 5 to 7 minute speeches from now on. And the CC is one of the first steps in Toastmasters to becoming a competent communicator. That's what it's called, the competent communicator. Because you started back here, remember your first speech? My name is Peter, I grew up in California. And you can't get through the first 4 minutes. After a while, you start doing all these different things, and you're growing as a speaker. And I'm sure by then you've been voluntold to be club president or something. And then finally, you become a CC. After that, you get told you should go to TLI. That's probably why you're here, right? And after that, you start earning your Competent Leader Award, which you should have been earning the whole time. But when you first joined Toastmasters, you kind of put that manual to the side. And then after a while, you're like, what's this manual? Oh, I can do this. Yeah. Grammarian, got it. Run a club meeting, yeah, got it. And then after a while, you become a CL. During that time, you were volunteered or voluntold to become a club officer, right? It starts with something low like Sergeant at Arms. Next thing you know, you're the VPE or the club president. Sound familiar? We all went through that, right? I think at my first club, I was treasurer for like a month. And then I believe Rick Vaughn told me to be club president. And next thing I knew, I was at TLI. Very exciting stuff in like 3 months. So you have to serve under the current system. You have to serve as an officer in a club for at least 6 months. After you had your successful year as a club officer for 6 months, people start nudging you. You'd be a great area director. It's easy. I'll help you through the whole thing. And that is a 1 year commitment. It starts July 1st and it ends June 30th. Who just finished being an area director last year? Was it fun?
Yes.
Okay, in July, was it fun? It was a little bit intimidating in July, right?
This past July?
This past July.
Yes. My service is over.
Last July, 2017, was it fun?
No.
It was a little bit intimidating, right? You were a little concerned. Did you have a mentor or somebody who guided you through? Did you have a team?
Yes.
Was Mike your director? Was a person like Mike encouraging?
Yes.
Did they help you out?
Better than Mike.
You have a division director who helps you out and guides you through what to do. And he'll tell you, let's find you a venue so you can hold your club contest and go do your area visit reports. How many of you know your area director right now? I'm going to turn around. Hold on. How many of you know your area director right now? Awesome. Yeah, you should know your area director. Your area director should be making visits at least once a quarter, hopefully once a month. But it's not as hard as it seems to do that 1 year of district service. How did you guys start feeling around April, May timeframe? Great. You saw the light at the end of the tunnel, right? My year is almost over. And when that time comes, you grow again as a speaker, as a leader. That year of service, while there's a lot of help, it challenges you internally to become a better leader. Guaranteed, unless you slept through the whole thing and somehow Mike did all the work for you, your year of service is awesome. It's just a great learning experience. You're challenged with things like going to other clubs. If most of us, until we become an area director, do not go to other clubs. But now as an area director, you're like, oh, you guys do it this way? I never thought of that. You do table topics at the beginning. We always do them at the end. Let's try that. You guys clap for everything? Wow. We don't. You have 10 people here? We have 4. You learn things. You guys help each other out. You learn something called quid pro quo as a leader. And speaking to you as somebody who was in the service and said, you're going to do this, period, versus saying, can you please do this for me? And maybe I'll help you out with your club contest in the future. That is an invaluable leadership skill that a lot of people, even in corporate America today, do not possess. They think, I'm the manager, I got these chevrons right here, I can tell you what to do, and your job depends on it. And you usually turn around and you're like, this manager sucks. I never want to be like him. But in Toastmasters, you learn how to say, thank you, please. I'll help you out. I really appreciate it. You guys saw Michael Holian out there, right? He's probably putting a lot of sanitizer right now because he was shaking hands the entire time he was here. That's something you probably don't see your managers do unless you have a good manager do or at work. Your manager just walks by, says, hey, whatever. What do you want? But not in Toastmasters. In Toastmasters, you learn the proper way of being a leader. And that's what that year of service will get you. For those of you who haven't attempted it yet or who are weary about it, it's a very rewarding year. What else do we have to do? Serve as a club sponsor, mentor, or coach. What's that? In case you don't know, I'm glad you guys don't know. Because now, you know what's happening today at 1:30 in this very room? Club sponsor, mentor, or coach training. They're going to tell you what it entails. Can anybody help me out with what's a club coach? Yes.
A club coach goes into struggling club 12 members or less to build them up and help them get stable.
12 members or less. Who here thinks they can do that? Who here has a great club? Who here has a great club? So if your club is great, do you think you could help out her club that's struggling just a little bit and maybe say, hey, here's how we do it at my club, or great job, but I'll start the meeting on time and end it on time. That might help you a little bit. Do you think you could do that? This side of the room? Do you guys think you could help out their club? Their club's struggling. They're lying. Your clubs are great. Right? After you've been in Toastmasters for a while, for only like what, $45 every 6 months? It's real cheap. After you've been there for a while, you're like, I've grown as a speaker. I've grown as a leader. I got my CC. I'm feeling good about myself. You can help out other clubs. Because I know you know this, but let me reiterate it. Not a single person in here gets paid to be here. We all actually pay to be here. Even me as a speaker, I had to pay for my TLI session. I thought I was going to get it free. That's why I volunteered for this program. I still had to pay my $7. It's a volunteer organization, and once you've grown and you've learned something about yourself and how to become a leader, how to become a better speaker, you should share your knowledge with other people. That's what a club coach does, is it helps other clubs, hopefully that don't meet at the same time that your club do. Other clubs, you help them get over that hump. They're at 8 to 12 members, and you're like, I can get you to 20. It is challenging, but it's very rewarding. Club mentor. What's a club mentor?
A club mentor is someone that guides a brand new club in the process of being successful.
Same thing, right? Do you think you could help a new club start the meeting on time? Maybe lead the claps for them because they're not clapping loud enough? Maybe tell them, you're running out of time. Stop talking. Right? Because new clubs, they need a little bit of guidance. There's usually corporate clubs, and there's 20 brand new members who have never been in Toastmasters. So that's why we usually assign 2 club mentors to a new club, and that will get you one of your checkoffs to become a DTM. You can do this. It sounds like a lot of time, but it's only 1 hour every week or every other week, depending on when they meet. And it does have a requirement of 6 months to a year. So that's what I'm talking about, the time constraints. You want to attend the 1:30 session, and you want to learn more about it, and you want to say, sign me up because I want to get my DTM this year. Club success plan. Now, I know every hand's going to go up. I'm going to ask it one more time. How many of you have already done your club success plan as officers in your club? How many of you have already done your club success? Are planning to do your club success plan as officers of the club? Right? Club success plan, there's an outline. It tells you, it asks you questions and you decide what you're going to do. But it's really like anything in life. You have to plan for it. You can't come start this year right now, and we're already in August, and expect by June 30th that you're going to be a club distinguished, president's distinguished, and have 25 members if you currently have no speeches, 8 members, and you don't know if you're going to meet next week. And you have 4 officers, and some of them are doing dual roles. The Club Success Plan encourages you to make a plan. VPE, what are you going to do? Sergeant at Arms, what are you going to do? Secretary/treasurer, what are you going to do? And it gives you guys goals. Are we going to hold an open house next month? Yes or yes? Are we going to hold an open house in November? Yes or yes? Do we have 20 members? No, we got to keep going. Are we going to hold an open house in January, February, March? And then you just give each other ideas, plans, you hold each other accountable. This is all leadership stuff. Remember, our motto is where leaders are made? It should be where speakers are made, but it's also where leaders are made. So you have to start doing that stuff, and it's part of your club success plan. As a club officer, you are encouraged to participate in it. And it's actually a checkoff when you're registering for, I think it's Advanced Communicator or Advanced Leader Silver. It's one of the silvers. Did you participate in the club success plan? Yes or no? And it should be yes, and you should want to participate in it. Even if you think, I'm the new auto-voluntold sergeant at arms and I don't know what's going on, attend it. That's how you find out. Okay, so you guys are going to participate in the club success plan? Yes? Can I get a yes?
Yes.
Can I get a louder yes?
Yes.
A happy yes? All right. All right, now you're feeling great. Do you have a question? Mike?
Just to clarify, the Club Success Plan is part of the Advanced Leader Bronze.
Thank you. Advanced Leader Bronze. Even sooner than I expected. I thought it was silver, but no, it's bronze. So you want to do it right now. Actually, you want to do it every time you're an officer. You want to participate in the Club Success Plan. Just because you need that check off once doesn't mean you need to stop. Every time you're an officer, how many of us have been officers almost every 6 months continuously for as long as we've been in Toastmasters? Look around you. It's like once you're an officer, you can't get out. I asked my club, do not make me an officer. And I came back and I was an officer. It's hard, but it's rewarding. All right, so as Mike said, you earn your Advanced Communicator Bronze. Now you earn your Advanced Leader Bronze because you participated in the Club Success Plan. You're feeling great. Advanced Communicator Silver. Advanced Leader Silver. Advanced Leader Gold. Doesn't exist, fortunately, in this system. Let's skip to the next slide because I want to show you the detail of the current system. So, I don't know if this works. Yeah, it does work. Okay. So in order to achieve your Advanced Leader Bronze, you got your CC, your CL, you served 6 months as a club officer. You helped prepare the Club Success Plan. Thank you, Mike. And look at that. You're earning it. See, you could be all, who's not an Advanced Leader Bronze yet? You're almost there. All you gotta do is apply. Right? What do you got? What's left? You got your CL? CC? You're almost there. So after that, you want your Advanced Communicator Silver. You got your Advanced Communicator Bronze. You're working on your 2 extra manuals, your advanced manuals. Maybe, give me a manual. Humorous speaking. Time management. What else is there? Public relations. All these cool manuals. You're working on them. And now you have to conduct 2 presentations from the Better Speaker series. Who's done those? What's your favorite? Just yell it out. Mentoring. Story. What? How about Moments of Truth? Has anybody ever heard of that one? Moments of Truth. What does it tell you?
How to take what you're doing. It's a sort of a wake-up call for a club, what you should be doing as a successful club, so you can check off, yes, we do this, yes, we do this, or oh, we could do better on these things.
So for those of you who have not done a Better Speaker Series, can you please raise your hand? Better Speaker Series is part of the current legacy system. They are not included in the pathway system. So this is your final opportunity to get those. I mean, they'll still be around. You can Google them. But in order to get credit, this is one of your last opportunities to start doing these. They are to they are pre-scripted extra presentations that you can do. But you don't want to read word for word, right? Have you ever had somebody stand up and read word for word? Do you want me to read word for word? It's not fun. You add your own flavor to it. So it doesn't matter what it says, you add your own flavor to it. So if it says you need to stand up here and talk for 5 minutes, you're not going to stand up here and talk for 5 minutes. You're going to stand up here and maybe talk and tell a joke. Whatever you do, you add it, you apply it to your club. Whatever works for your club, whatever change you want to see in your club, whatever you want to communicate to the club. It's a great way for you to grow as a speaker. Club success is the same thing, but for your club. That's where the moments of truth come out. So the moments of truth is a good one that almost every club should do. It asks you questions. Do you think our meetings are fun? And you run a survey perhaps, and everybody says, yeah, sometimes. And then you discover, wow, they're not fun. Or you might say the other way, the meetings are too fun. We always run over, we don't get enough time to actually learn, evaluations are always jokes. And then you have to step back and be like, okay, we're not getting the best out of the program. There's a series of questions that it asks you about your club. And what I've seen, what I've experienced personally is that after you do moments of truth with your club and you give the presentation, there's usually a change. I don't know if it's by luck or something, but usually I've seen it where like somebody gave a moment of truth and then 2 weeks later we have a new member. Somebody gave moments of truth and 2 weeks later we have attendance like we've never had before. We have 20 members, but usually we have 8 in attendance. All of a sudden we have 18 people in attendance. There's usually always a benefit to that Better Speaker Series, Moments of Truth. Club Success Series, Moments of Truth. And there's a lot others. There's a lot of other series that can benefit the club. So one's for you as a speaker, how to get up in front of a speech, how to give a speech, how to do a proper introduction. And then there's the club ones that help better the club, time management, moments of truth, etc. These are great. They're pre-scripted. All you got to do is read it and say, I can do this, and just stand up and give I don't know if they're 5 to 7 or 10 and 11, but just give a presentation in front of the club. There's usually a little bit of work required to it, but I guarantee it after you're done, if you do this Better Speaker, you're going to recognize it as a speaker and you're going to become a better speaker. If you do the Club Success Series, you're going to recognize something in your club that can be improved. And I'm not going to guarantee it's going to happen in your club, but I'm just speaking from experience. Every single time we've presented this at one of my clubs, we've had something positive happen. So try a Club Success Series, and it'll just be rewarding. There'll be no reason for you to think twice about it. All right, so we gave you your Advanced Communicator Silver. Now you're like, I want to be an Advanced Leader Silver. This is the hard part. Advanced Leader Silver, that's where the hard work comes in. You can't simply say, yeah, I was a club officer. I think I'm a leader. I deserve a silver. This is the one where you have to interview and become an area director and do your 6 months to a year as a club coach, mentor, or sponsor. Now, I want to tell you guys a story of how I became an area director at the time. I was finishing up my term as a club coach. I was getting some people to join the club. I was visiting clubs. And I met a lady called Hallie who's out in the halls preparing the food. She was an incoming district director, kind of like Michael Holian right now. I said, hey, Hallie, nice to meet you. And I shook her hand, and as I turned to walk away, there was a piece of paper in my hand. And it was an application to be an area director. It was pre-filled out with my name on it. The signature appeared to be in blood. Just kidding. But that's how quick it happens. When you start making progress. So see, right now, if you were like me when I did Toastmasters, I couldn't get a word out, and every time I stood up here, I started shaking and sweating profusely. They're not going to ask me to be an area director. But by that time, I had done a few speeches, and I had stepped out of my club, and it's encouraging. She saw a glimpse of hope in me, and she said, you need to be an area director right now. I met Hallie, I believe it was like June 25th, and the year started July 1st to be an area director. Fortunately, there was one spot left, and she gave it to me. But that's what's happening right now for those of you that want to become a DTM. You have one spot left. In 2018, 2019 year, what year are we in? Yeah, 2019. July 1st, 2019 is the final time that you can be an area director and qualify for DTM and the legacy system. You guys hear me? July 1st, 2019 is the final year you become an area director to qualify to be, to check that off your year of district service under the legacy system. There's other roles you can do. You could be a division director who manages the area directors. You could be a district director like Michael Holian, or a club growth director like Caitlin. Or for those of you who like punishment, you could try to be a finance manager like I was last year. It was not pretty. But there's other opportunities. There's like, how many opportunities are there? 45 opportunities? But how many are in this room? Like 90? So you're going to have to fight each other to get that final spot. And you want this final spot. You want to be challenged to become an area director. You serve as the club sponsor, mentor, or coach. And then you get your ALS. All you got to do after that, 2 more advanced manuals, conduct a success communication, success leadership, or a youth leadership series. Those are expensive, relatively. The manuals cost $20 to $30, and you have to give them in front of a group of people. And you usually give them certificates for attending your 4-hour session or whatever it is. So like youth leadership, who here has done youth leadership before? What, Sal?
Yes, I have.
What's it entail?
I went into a high school in Bronx back
Wow.
many years ago and helped a bunch of high school students learn how to do a mini Toastmasters club. I've lost, don't know where they went to in their lives, but I hope that they took what we did there and carried that on through their lives.
Right. So like you said, youth leadership is the most common one that we do. You go to a church or a high school or even a junior high school, and you run like a mini Toastmasters program for a couple of weeks with the students there. You get them through their icebreaker, you give them certificates, and you get the check. But more importantly, you get that sense of accomplishment, that sense of reward, that sense of like, I did something for somebody, and hopefully that'll carry them in their future. Youth leadership is one of the most rewarding things that I've heard people talk about, because they may have taken a student who was not confident in themselves, who walked into class and was looking down the whole time. When they ask for volunteers, they will be like, well, I'm writing. And usually by the time they do that, they finish the youth leadership program, they're confident. They'll look you in the eye. They'll shake your hand, sturdy. And just to see that change in somebody, it's so rewarding. I haven't done youth leadership yet, but this is the feedback I've gotten from those that have done youth leadership. It's very rewarding. Like, have you guys ever taught your children something, your cousins, your little brother or sister, and when they did it, you were like, yes, awesome. Like teaching them how to ride a bike, or playing with Legos, or teaching them how to use their remote. Right? When they do it, when they finally do it, when you see them progress, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of them. Whether you say it or not, you know inside you feel that sense of pride. That's what you get out of youth leadership. There are other things in here. There's the one I'm doing this year is going from speaker to trainer. And it's a 4-hour session where you're supposed to come lead a session on how to go from being a normal speaker to a trainer, because it's not the same thing. Give it a 5 to 7 minute speech. You rehearsed it. You know exactly what you're going to say. You don't have to look at the audience. You're just like, I know the script in my head, or you might have notes. But to actually train somebody to say, have the acknowledge that nobody's raising my hand, so I'm going to just sit here and wait until somebody says something. To know when to pause, to know when to speak, to know that I'm only talking to this side of the room and I'm really ignoring this side as a speaker, that's very important, because I guarantee I'll have that on my evaluations if I sat here the whole time talking to you guys. So there's other sessions in there. Does anybody know of any other sessions in the Success Communication Series?
Where's Speechcraft?
Speechcraft?
Is Speechcraft one of those?
It's one of these. Thank you. Speechcraft. Who here's done a Speechcraft before? Can you tell us about it?
There was a lot of preparation. There was a lot of hope that we would grow our clubs substantially. And the first one we did, I think we had 15
Speechcraft is like open house on steroids. You usually plan it for a few weeks out. I think the requirement's 5 weeks probably, 4 to 5 weeks. You plan 5 sessions where you introduce people to Toastmasters. Usually they're not Toastmasters. So you might do it at work. And you invite people. Sometimes this is one thing where they allow you to charge for it so you can buy the materials. But you do a Speechcraft and you're like, okay, this is how we run Toastmasters. You ask everybody to prepare an icebreaker speech and you give them evaluations, or sometimes if there's not enough people, you have them evaluate each other. And you encourage them to become Toastmasters. You show them the benefits of Toastmasters. You show them how a meeting is run, what happens in a meeting, and how they can benefit from Toastmasters. Yes?
Just a follow-up comment on the Speechcraft. In one of my clubs, we were struggling with membership. And we had a member kept saying, well, let's have a Speechcraft. And I said, well, we got to get people to show up for the Speechcraft too. We have the same issue. We have to get out there and find people who are interested. You know, I've heard other people call a Speechcraft Toastmasters Light.
Yeah.
But you still have to make the effort to get people to show up and participate.
There's a reason it's one of the final requirements to achieving a DTM, because it's not just, hey, we're going to have a Speechcraft next week, see who shows up. There's preparation on it. So you got to buy the manuals and see what it entails. It's usually, we can't call a Speechcraft next week. You have to prepare for it. You usually have to advertise it. If it's at work, you send newsletters out, you print out flyers, and you encourage people, like, you're coming to a Speechcraft, right? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, Peter, I'll be right there. And from what I've experienced at the clubs that I've done this at, every single time we've done a Speechcraft, personal experience doesn't mean it matters, it happens every time, but every single time we've done a Speechcraft, we've gained at least 1 to 2 members. So it is a great campaigning tool, a membership drive, but it's also one of the final requirements for you to become a DTM. Speechcraft is, just think about it as, I need membership, I should do a Speechcraft and get it done with. You don't have to wait to be Advanced Communicator Gold. It's just one of the checkoffs for Advanced Communicator Gold. And then finally, it's one of the things you do as part of your, also in the Competent Leadership Manual, but this is a different requirement. You have to help a new member through the first 3 speeches. I mean, how many of us can do that? How many of us can do that? I'm going to keep my hand up until I see every single hand go up, because as club leaders, it's one of the requirements to help the new members. So all of us should be able to do that. Help a member through the first 3 speeches, even if you don't want this requirement. Even if you're like, Peter, I never want to be a DTM. I'm happy being a competent communicator. You should want to help a new member through the first 3 speeches, because I'm willing to bet that most of you had somebody help you through your first couple speeches, right? Was it fun doing it alone? Did you feel encouraged when somebody stepped up and said, hey, let me help you? Or at least offered to help. Say, hey, you have any questions, give me a call. Was that your experience or just mine? Right? We all had help in the beginning. So I've been going over the legacy system for for almost the whole session. Pathways. Pathways is slightly different. You got to complete 2 different paths if you want to achieve a DTM, which if you're going to be in Toastmasters for any amount of time, you will achieve 2 different paths. You have to serve as a club officer for 1 complete year, not just 6 months. So those of you that are one and done people say, hey, I was a VPE once, I'm done, I'm never doing it again. Now you have to do it again. It doesn't have to be in the same role. You could be SAA 1 period for 6 months, and you could be a treasurer for 6 months, or whatever you want. They don't have to be consecutive. You could be an SAA in 2018, and then then again SAA in 2025. You just need 1 full year under your belt. But I guarantee the opportunities will present itself, and you will be a club officer much, much, much longer than that. So you can guarantee that's going to be a check. You still have to do a year district service. Your year district service has to have began in the year 2018. So those of you that just finished district service last year, I have to present this positively. You have the opportunity to become a DTM in the legacy system with that year of service. Again, if you just finished your area director year, you have the opportunity to become a DTM in the legacy system. If you want the opportunity to become a DTM in the pathway system, you need to do a year service that began after the year 2018. Huge disappointment for those that just ended the year and be like, but Peter, I'm only a CC. Well, you have a year and a half to complete it. You can do it. If you need help, you can call me. You can call Dawn. You can call Jamila. You can call Caitlin, Michael, anybody, and they will help you get that DTM in the legacy system if you don't already have it. Now, the difference here is that you can serve as a club mentor or coach, but club sponsor is now part of the bigger requirement. So now they have sponsor, Speechcraft, or youth leadership as the final requirements. They're kind of backwards up there, but so they kind of split it up a little bit. Overall, are we doing the same thing? Yes, right? They're just different requirements in the new legacy system. Again, I'm here to just briefly tell you about the legacy system. But the main goal I'm telling everybody right now is, just like I just broke the bad news to the area directors that just finished their year, you all have the opportunity to achieve DTM in the current system because all the hard work you've done, if it was before 2018, it doesn't transfer to pathways for credit. Internally, you know you did it. Internally, you feel good about yourself. Internally, you're like, oh man, I bought every manual there was. I have 4 more to do. I'm going to finish them. Externally, I'm not going to get credit for those, but internally, I'm going to know that I did all 15 manuals. You have the same opportunity. If you want credit, get your year leadership done, get your coach, sponsor, mentor done right now, and take the opportunity and finish the current legacy system. Because if not, you're going to have to start, not from scratch because you're seasoned Toastmasters, but you're going to have to start all over doing the check boxes as of 2018 forward. I hate that to be a bummer, but that's the situation we're in right here. Want everybody to take a picture of this. Yes. Oh, I didn't go over it. I'm sorry. Yes. Pathways has a new requirement. So you guys remember the HPL, High Performance Leadership? It's still part of Pathways, but it's part of a path. Now they replaced the HPL with something called a DTM Project, which is supposed to be like the HPL, only the major difference from what I've heard is that the DTM Project has to be for an organization. So before you could do an HPL as part of your year leadership, you manage a few contests and you're like, I got my HPL done. Now you have to do it for an organization. So you could do it, your DTM project, think of it like the HPL. It's a big project where you manage other people, but it has to be for an organization. It could be for this church, if you're part of this church. I don't know. It could be for your church. It could be for your work. It could be for the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, junior achievement, your kid's school, but it has to be for an external organization. That's what I've heard about the DTM project. That's the difference between it. It's the HPL on steroids for an organization, and if you still have to do the HPL, but it's only part of certain paths. I don't know which paths they are, but it's part of 2 paths of the 8 or 10 that they have available. Got it? It's clear as mud? That's what they told me.
I looked at Toastmasters International because I wanted to check something. Area director, and coach, mentor, sponsor, if it has not been applied to the old program, can carry forward the pathways.
Right. As of 2018 forward.
No. Anything that has not been applied to the legacy program can be applied to pathways.
Right. So, hopefully. So here's the situation. I called them because when I first did this session, I was told you're going to present Saturday. It was in Tucson, so I called them that Friday. And they answered the phone after being on hold for 20 minutes. And they told me that everything for Pathways begins as of January 1st, 2018 forward. Now I said, what about the people that are waiting? They said that you have to present it positively. They have the opportunity to do it in the current system. However, they did say that Pathways is not set in stone yet. So they're going to review people's feedback and they may change something. So what you're reading there may be a change that they've applied, but the last information I was given is that everything has to be as of January 1st, 2018 forward. Let's bank on the worst and prepare for the best. Okay? Here's a deadline for submitting education requirements. You guys should take a picture of this if you have any aspirations of being a DTM in the legacy system. What does it say? June 30th, 2020. What does it say? So if you apply to be an area director next year, July 1st, and you finish your year June 30th, you're good, right? Here's what they're saying. They don't know if they are going to, because you have to apply for it. They're going to close legacy system after June 30th. So they told me that they're either going to open the window for you to apply for a DTM early in June, or possibly for the first time ever, extend it past July 1st. Again, it's one of those things where they told me, we don't know what we're going to do, it's up in the air, but as long as you completed your year of service next year, or if you're an area director this year, you should be good for the legacy system. Last chance to apply for a directorship is July 1st, 2019. Those of you that have questions should probably ask your current area director, hey, can you please tell me more about it? Can I follow you to a meeting? Can I be your assistant? Can you just let me know whatever you learn as the year progresses? That's how you learn if you're ready to be an area director for next year. And as soon as you ask him, he's going to peg you. You're it. You're my replacement for next year. So just ask. Ask your area director, how can I get this done? I really want to be a DTM. I've already done all these manuals. I'm halfway there. Let's get it done, and you can do it. Last chance to apply for sponsor, mentor, and coach training under the legacy system is right now. It takes 6 months to a year to get that write-off. Do you really want to wait for the last 6 months to see if there's a new club available for you to go help? Or do you really want to wait to see if you can get this club from 12 to 20 members at the last minute? It's very tough. Unless you have 8 buddies that are going to come join Toastmasters, it's going to be very hard to do. So the last chance for you to do it is right now. Start looking for these opportunities right now if you want to be a DTM on the legacy system. If you want to hold off, you got time. Attend SMAC training tonight, 1:30. If you want more speaking opportunities, if you're like, Peter, I can't do this. I got like 10 more manuals to go through. Become a dual member. There's plenty of clubs who will gladly take you as a dual member. Guaranteed. My club will take you in a second. It's right there, Graceful, Rise and Shine. Prove yourself to an area director. Say, hey, let me know about what you're doing this year so I can see if I could do it next year. And you'll help me. Join a leadership club. Leadership clubs usually help you and guide you through every step of any leadership role that you want to do. You want to be an area director, division director, club growth director, the district director, anything. These leadership clubs are designed to do that. So there's Leaders Plus, Leaders for Tomorrow, Sleek. They're all over the valley. They will help you get there. Start planning your HPL project now. There is an HPL session September 15th in this very church. Plan for it. You need to work with teams, so it's always great that you have other people that are also working on their HPL. So if you come here September 15th, I believe it's at 1:30 also, you'll meet other people, you will grab a team, and you're halfway there because you're all working towards the same goal. Another strategy that I learned is how to plan your 20-minute speeches. Some of those advanced manuals are 20 minutes. Use venues like this where they charge you like $5 to go there. The local libraries usually charge you $5. You grab 2 or 3 other Toastmasters and you guys give the presentations, and you get those knocked off your list, the advanced manuals. That's the way we did it when I was trying to go through that. I was like, how am I going to give a 20-minute speech in my club? Nobody wants to hear me speak for 20 minutes. And I'm like, go to the library, get 5 other people and you're good. And that's what we did, and it worked. Again, the deadline is, for the legacy system, June 30th, 2020. Last chance to be an area director is next year, July 1st, 2019. Again, the projects or services on or after January 1st, 2018 is what I was told. I know you were told different, but that's what I was told, is that they have to begin after January 1st, 2018 to count for the new system. And really, the new system is going to be there for a long time, so it doesn't matter when you start, you have other opportunities. Did we meet the session objectives? Kind of? Yes? No? You guys can't wait to end? All right. So we really pounded the legacy system, right? We learned a little bit about the pathway system. I hope June 30th is stuck in your head. June 30th, 2020 is a final opportunity for you to apply to be a DTM. Start asking about directorships right now. Area director is the default. Start working in your sponsor, mentor, and coaching opportunities right now. Do we have any questions? Yes?
Peter, just a quick question on the legacy system. We were talking about the Speechcraft, and I just want to make sure, I know it's either Speechcraft or Youth Program on the new system, but on the old system, that doesn't replace the HPL, right? It's
No.
Speechcraft or Youth.
HPL is its own requirement. Yeah. It's and. It's not or, it's and. Yeah. And there's a few others. If you have any questions, you can always go to toastmasters.org/education/pathways/FAQs to get your information. Or you can just Google Pathways and it'll come up. Sorry I kept you here so long. DTM, do not time me. I used the entire 45 minutes. That concludes the session. If you have any questions, if you want copies of the slide, even though they may not be applicable after tomorrow, please email me, Peter Salazar DTM, one word, @gmail.com. Very easy to remember. Other than that, there are surveys. I do read them. I do cry at night when I read them, or sometimes they're good and I have a good time. But other than that, please fill them out. It'll help us provide better presentations, better speakers. You can write whatever you want there. It won't hurt my feelings. And then your next session starts in about 10 minutes, I believe. Thank you.